I'm sorry. I'm actually at my office right now. Uh, got a few things to do today before I head out. Got to do some stuff for the office. Got to pay the rent. Um, make sure some of the bills are already taken care of. Then I'm gonna see my kid off. I'm gonna be out of town for a week. Um, but yeah, right now I just gotta do some office stuff and get that all ready, get that out of the way. Before I head out to the slabs, I'm going to go fill up my water jugs, my the 6 gallon ones. Then I'm also going to uh, probably get some snacks and stuff. I've got some food already, most of my food already, and then ice. Gotta get ice from my coolers and get everything ready to go. So, if anybody's out there, how y'all doing today? Spell check, spell check, spell check. Sorry if not very entertaining right now. Again, I'm at work. I'm doing some last minute stuff that I need to just leave done before I leave. And actually, while I'm out at the slabs, one of those days, I'm actually gonna have to come back and not come back here to LA, but probably go down to El Centro, where the company I work for has a job assignment going on right now. So, and I need to check up on the guys out there. Yeah, again, sorry, I'm not entertaining when I'm working and doing this shit. I'm pretty usually try to concentrate on work stuff. Uh, I guess we might as well talk a little bit about it right now, or at least I'll talk about it. Hey, Robert. Um, but obviously, it's no secret now. A situation has happened in Slab City. Apparently, Mike has been arrested. Um, the claim is the charges are sexual harassment of a minor, um, something along those lines. From what I've been hearing, that seems to be more accurate. He's supposed to be arraigned today, um, and yes, in how the situation is going right now, as it is going, is not so much the problem as the problem has turned out to be more the people who are coming out to start problems and the way some of the people are handling these people coming out to do problems. I'm obviously talking about the trolls, and it's quite obvious that there is a lot of trolls on Goonies' channel. There's a lot of trolls on Tommy's channel. There's a lot of trolls on Zane's channel, um, and it's hey Carlos Z, and it's I can really tell that Tommy, Mike, and all these people, me, from the slabs, they really not. And I'm not trying to be condescending and talk bad about these people, but it doesn't seem like they have a big grasp of how the online world works. Um, it's almost as if they forget or they don't understand that because the lack of well, the internet does give the advantage of making people more accountable for things. At the same time, it also gives people the advantage to have the lack of accountability for things, and that's the main issue with trolls. Is most trolls don't even show their faces. I mean, look at all the trolls in the Goonies stream, and look at all the trolls in Zane's stream and Tommy's stream. None of these people show their faces. None of these people really show their proper identities, and that's obviously the first sign of being a troll. Hey, foraging seeker, um, and for most people, we know already how to tell who's a troll and who's not. At least I'd like to think so. If you guys, let me throw this out to you real quick. Is this a troll? someone with no picture on their profile, a very generic avatar, has 0 to very minimal, maybe 20, 30 followers at the most, counts no more than a few days, at best a few months old, and if you go and look around and see whatever the comments and shit that they've been saying on other videos and whatnot, you can really deduce two together right away and say, fucking troll, irrelevant. Your opinions, whatever the fuck you say, it doesn't matter. And that's not being dismissive of a person's opinion. And the thing is, if you're going to have an opinion about anything, whether it be an individual, whether it be a politician, a person, an item, or a thing, you know, the only way your opinion should even be respected or even be held for review is that there has to be a face to that opinion. And if there is no face to the opinion, you're not you don't you can bitch and bitch and bitch and say what you want and say, well, I have my freedom of speech and that's another thing too. Uh, that's another troll tactic that a lot of people who kind of grew up with the internet know right away. A troll will automatically throw out that freedom of speech argument or the moral right argument or virtue signaling. That's what it's called, or at least what I think it is. Um, and you have to watch out for that right away. You're trying to block their freedom of speech, that you're trying to censor them, which is like, no, and it's quite not really that. You're just responding um, to their bullshit. Uh, hey, Stony, how's it going? But let me try not to get too far off the subject. Are you buffering a bit? Hold on, Secret. Let me see. Oh, I'm not on the my job's Wi-Fi. Let me get on the Wi-Fi. That might solve the issue there. And I'm also laying this behind a computer. Guys, let me know if that's better. Like the Wi-Fi on. Um, but yeah, back to it. So, I mean, I grew up with the internet. I know how trolls behave. I see their patterns and everything. Dog Lips is obviously the most pathetic and worst ones of them all. It doesn't seem like he's even like an internet grown troll. He's not one of these people that grew up with the internet. He's just some fucking alcoholic who knows how to make up a bunch of accounts. Um, but it does seem like Tommy and Mike and some of these people don't really know that. And for Tommy, and again, I'm not trying to bash Tommy. It would be very terrible of me to be bashing on somebody who's already opened, their home to me. And I'm not trying to do so, but there is a saying that I was taught a long time ago, and it applies to many parts of the world, and it's fucked up to say it. Being kind is a sin. And I don't know if you guys ever heard that, but being kind is a sin. I've never liked it. I've never liked when people said it. I've never liked the meaning behind it. I used to always find it as an excuse for people not to be charitable. Uh, but it all my years now, and it's not been 32 years old. I have to admit that the saying does have some merit. Um, how let me put it to you this way. I actually had this discussion not too long ago with a beautiful African lady at a FedEx over in Woodland Hills. And here's the example. You can, show up to a big city like LA, San Francisco, San Diego, New York. Let's take LA, New York, for example. You see someone who's homeless on the street and you can give them 5, 10, $20 out of your pocket. That's a pretty charitable thing to do and whatnot. But what you got to look at is the entire surrounding and the entire situation. While you're giving that money to a person who you obviously looked and realized is a need, at the same time, you can unfortunately, and not, by your fault at all, it's fucked up that it is this way. But you can sometimes even put that person at risk, or more importantly, put you at risk, especially if you give a large amount of money and someone else sees that. I used to be homeless, and not all homeless are nice people. Some homeless people actually group together and form their camps and everything, kind of like the Goonies and Tommy have done, but they do it out in the urban areas and whatnot, and they try to look out for each other. Most don't, and and even then, these groups, while most of them have good intentions, some of them aren't actually great groups, and that's something we can talk about. Because that is something I like looking into, and looking into the homelessness that goes on in California, and how within the homelessness there's some factors that cause them their own problems. It's generally the same to society, bad apples and things like that, as Tommy likes to say. Uh, Fuck. All right, sorry, I'm veering off the topic here. But again, back to the trolls. It's I know how to tell a troll. Those of us who've grown up online basically know how to tell a troll, and I don't think that Tommy and Mike grasp that. I think Tommy can be a bit naively generous and kind to these trolls, um, which is not a bad thing if you can hold yourself up to scrutiny and just wash off people's opinions about you or whatever people say about you. Um, but if you can't, it can become a problem, and it could be something that ends up being not only a problem for him online, but a problem for him socially, a problem for him in the family, and and it's it sucks. And a lot of people YouTube careers, because I know some people don't like to consider YouTube a career. I mean, that's again a discussion that we can have at another time. Um, end because they get stressed out over the fact that they don't realize, hey, not a lot of people are going to like you. And unfortunately, while the internet is great and it brings a lot of people together that would like you and like what you do, and you guys can share in doing this, it's same time it's going to bring together a lot of people who don't like you, usually for no good reason whatsoever. Hey, Skittles. Um, and just because they want to be malicious dipshits, and they will get together to be malicious dipshits. Um, it's funny. Humans are just like that in nature. We have this need to group up, to camp together, to form tribes, and regardless whether it's for the better of the tribe overall, or uh, the worse of other people. Hey, Allie, how's it going? And again, I just don't think these guys have learned to deal with that yet. I gotta disagree with that, Lost Dog, because you gotta remember something too. Uh, Everyone's entitled to the right to their own opinion and feel, and it's not like Tommy getting upset over how everybody feels is going to affect anybody else in doing so. So, I mean, I understand in a sense what you're saying, but he has the right. Anybody has the right to come on and make content on YouTube and online, as long as you meet the YouTube's terms of services and everything like that. And but some people can't handle the aggressiveness, and I mean, it's easy to say, Lost Dog. It really is easy just to say that, because I've had to say it to people sometimes. But usually, what I like to do now is, I like to to let people know, hey, be nicer about it. And it's not that I'm trying to be politically correct. It's that you got to understand. Yeah, the internet was invented sometime in the 70s and the 80s. I grew up in the 90s and the early 2000s with the internet, but my parents did it, and there's a lot of people still in my age group who didn't grow up with the internet. For people my age, and especially the people who are younger than me or us on this chat. I don't know everybody's age in this chat. The internet is something that you were accustomed to, and the instant communication. And you got to understand, there's still a lot of people alive right now who are not. Um, there is still the majority of the people living right now in this world are not used to instantaneous reaction of everything going on the internet. The only people who've ever had this sort of backlash come to them in such a manner are people who were actually famous and said really stupid shit on television or radio and any of the old other medias we used prior to things like instant messaging, voice chat, Google Hangouts and things like that. So again, I understand where you're coming from, Lost Dog, but at the same time, we gotta understand that I see that we do tend to take that for too much as a we take it. What's the fucking word? I can't even find the fucking word right now for it. Uh, you know, do we take advantage of the fact that we grew up with the internet? I guess is what I want to say. And people like Tommy and people like Mike probably didn't. Sorry guys, there's a truck passing by. I don't know what the sound's gonna be right now. Okay. Yeah, Carlos, exactly. It's just, it's very taken for granted by a lot of us who grew up with it, and those who didn't, or those who weren't accustomed to it. Um, it can be difficult for them. Let me put it to you this way: what if 100 people just showed up to your door one day? No one wanted to fight you. No one wanted to shoot you. Nobody was being violent physically, but they were just yelling shit and talking shit to you. And regardless what kind of person you are, even if you hate people, you're gonna be like, man, what the fuck? It's gonna affect you in some way, you know. And that's kind of what the internet has unfortunately given certain people opportunity to do in a malicious manner. But anyways, again, veering off the subject, back to it. We've dealt with one of the issues here being that the trolls, and how this seems like people don't know how to deal with the trolls. Um, okay, I mean, depending on what state you are at, Lost Dog, you can answer with that, but in most states, if you answer with that, you're gonna be the one that looks like a dipshit, and you're gonna be the one in the wrong. You know. Okay. Just want to be clear with that. All right, so let's get on now to the next point. Um, One thing that I also don't think that these people completely grasped before they put themselves out there on the internet is that YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, all these social media and video websites and things like that, they are public forums. Yes, they're owned by private corporations and things like that. And yes, those private corporations have the right to scrutinize and set rules and regulations for their sites as they run them. And these people don't, for the most part, charge you any money to host these services. Um, but it's uh, it's almost as if we haven't watched enough VH1. I got to tell you guys something. I haven't watched TV in almost 15 years, so I don't even know if VH1 still exists. But it's almost as if these guys don't remember VH1 or never watched VH1, like behind the music or behind the actors and all those things where they go off and pretty much scrutinize into a famous person or someone in the spotlight's life. Um, and because you are on what you believe is a public forum, and just a forum, where it's just a group of people who are just looking for you, just solely for interest, are going to find you. They sometimes develop this naive sense that their lives, no matter what little error or not they make, is not going to be scrutinized, which is, again, comes into what Lost Dog was saying, and why some people end up taking that approach. But again, I go back to the internet is still a new thing for the majority of people who are alive. For most of us who are young enough to have grown up with it, we're not that many. And for to having people instantly scrutinizing them and instantly responding to them, as great as it could be on a positive thing, it's terrible on a negative thing, and they're not prepared for it. Some of them are not prepared for it. Uh, Now, the third thing, um, eh, you know what, 4G, we got to talk sometime because uh, I've been reading something lately, and it looks like people are starting to take a step back, man. Uh, Even with technology, there's this little trend that's actually been rising, where people are going backwards in technology on certain things. And I noticed it with video gaming, with desktops and everything. Everybody's going back to the desktop because, people who do video games, video editing, you have to have a desktop. It's just unfortunate. A laptop cannot do what a desktop can do for things like that. But for like cell phones, a lot of people are actually going back to using dumb phones or dumb phones like old flip phones. Uh, Nokia still makes their old brick phones. Do you guys remember the Nokia bricks? They're still being made. Why? Because there's still a market for them, and they're starting to come back into the U.S. So that is something I'd like to talk to you about, Forge Seeker, because it is something that I've been recently kind of, sparingly looking into. This trip's kind of kept me distracted. Um, but it's interesting how on certain things, on phone technology, we're going back to just having standard flip phones, and then going back to regular cameras and things like that. Now, for me, I've always loved computers. So I know I recognize what a smartphone is. It's a small mini computer. I don't want to call it a microcomputer because they have the little watch ones now, but it is what it is. And I've always liked computers, so you know, I like it. But I see a good reason to have it. Also, good thing about having those old flip phones, um, they still do those. I don't know I don't know if they do this wherever you guys live, but because I'm only an hour away from Hollywood or so, I'm in the San Fernando Valley. There's two theaters here that certain businesses will get these special pamphlets for guest screenings to movies that are just weeks or maybe a few months away from coming out, and they want to get viewer reactions. And you can go into those places for free, and they usually give them to businesses to hand out as kind of as a promo to their customers. And if you're my favorite, I would do that if I had. Oh shit! Decline that. Sorry, I had a call. I'm just gonna decline it. Um, but yeah, so if I had certain customers that would shop at a hobby shop where I'd go out a lot, I'd hand them these passes. But one of the things with these places is they didn't like phones, especially phones with cameras. You could not go in with a phone with a camera. They would have to put your phone in a locker for you, and then when you came out, you would get your phone back. With these flip phones, you don't have to worry about that. And a lot of these little security places, like they don't want to film comedy shows or live events or things like that. It's a no problem thing with those phones. Back to the issue. Fuck, man. I'm so sorry. I'm going back and forth on what I'm talking about. That I'm gonna now make probably my last point on the situation going on with the Goonies. We only have an accusation. As far as I've looked into it, we only have an accusation. There should be an arraignment today. If there isn't an arraignment today, there'll probably be an arraignment tomorrow. There would have never been an arraignment during the weekends. There are no courts on the weekends, guys. Uh, so again, anything that's being said that that he's already been convicted or that there's evidence, no one knows about it because there hasn't been any fucking court case or the court hasn't even started to show off the evidence. Uh, so everything has been pretty much speculation, troll talk, and malicious bullshit. That's pretty much what it's been. So I did say when I did say, and I'm telling everybody this now, I am going to when I go out there, I'm gonna go meet up with Tommy. Um, I am going to try to find out what the situation is, to the best of my ability. And if there's anything I can update everybody with, I will. Um, Now, I do want to say something to be perfectly clear. Neither myself or anybody in my stream, in my live stream right now, is entitled to any information about anybody's life at all. None of us are. All right? Whatever information people decide to share with me out there is at their discretion willingly, but it doesn't mean that we can take it as the truth. I have to assume that the slabs is just the same as anywhere else. You're going to have good people, you're going to have assholes. We've already seen what happened with Cause's little bullshit video, uh, which I'm debating right between myself whether I should make a video on Cause's video, because I find Cause's video ridiculously stupid, because within Cause's very own video, he dismisses himself fully, you know. But everything right now is just accusation. There's no hard evidence that Mike has done anything. We got to wait for the arraignment, um, and even then, even if he's been arraigned, it doesn't mean that the evidence will be brought out, or that that the case is even going to begin. All they're really going to do in the arraignment is let him know, hey, you're being charged for this and this. Whether he's going to get bail or not, his court date, and yeah, that's about it. That's about as far as I know as the arraignment's going to happen. Okay, case is not just going to begin right then and there. Um, so, is the situation delicate? Yes, the accusation is a serious accusation. Hold on. I just missed Skittles' last choice. With so many pointing out priors in PM, wondering if the CA charges are new or if they left PA, they got picked up in California. Well, see, here's the thing though. If if California just picked him up over something from Pennsylvania, it would mean that there had been a warrant out. I did try to search for warrants under that name and didn't really find anything. Um, so at least one that you can, something like that. If something like that was going on, somebody in Pennsylvania would have posted something out, pictures, things like that, something information, and I have not been able to find anything of that nature. Um, and if it was, like I said, if he was on a warrant from Pennsylvania, then he wouldn't be arraigned here. I don't believe. I think he would have been just immediately shipped off, extradited to Pennsylvania, and they would have been arraigned and done the court there. But were you arraigned? Were you arraigned where you were at the place before you were extradited, or were you arraigned after you were extradited? I don't know if Skittles heard me. Skittles, you said you were extradited before to Pennsylvania. Were you? Okay. So you were arraigned at the place where you were extradited. Okay. So then the only way we would know if that's for sure then is once Mike's arraignment would happen, then Mike would be extradited to Pennsylvania. So if he is extradited within any of these, the next day or so, or has an order that he's going to be extradited, then we'll know for sure that it came from Pennsylvania. The hearsay I've heard from, and I heard this on Rachel's channel first. I don't know exactly where it came from, but Rachel mentioned it was that it was a California charge. Well, now that is another thing too. Depending on the charge, they'll make the state come out, the state that originally charged you, or the county, even the county at some point, that originally charged you to come chase you. And if they don't come after you, then they just they just let you off. Um, which I knew somebody who, still in California, was responsible for starting a fire in Lake Tahoe, has a warrant, has been arrested several times out here in LA, but because they don't pick him up, they just throw the guy right back out. Um, but I don't think something like that would apply in the case of child molestation. Skittles, this is something far more serious. And Foraging Seeker has a point too. So hold on, Ali. There's a there's a channel called Camp Goonies, which is a channel of a guy named Mike and his group that he runs a camp out nearby where Slab City is, and it's actually a camp I'm going to be going to. He was recently arrested at his camp, and he's being charged with child molestation charges. But right now, what's been going on is the usual trolls are throwing shit, and it's the people who actually live out there with the guy and know the guy. It's kind of starting to kind of get to them, and I'm just kind of setting the record straight on what I believe is going on and whatnot. Um, and he hasn't been arraigned yet. He's going to be arraigned today or tomorrow, one of these days. Um, and Fortune Seeker brings up another point. There are, unfortunately, not everybody's name is unique. Even my real name is not that unique. But my real name is so generic, it could take anybody a long time to try to look for me in the phone book. And the same applies for if you want to get racial, it's a racial things. For certain races, certain names are very common. So trying to find somebody under a certain name, it could be a real fucking needle in a haystack. How many Michaels are there in the United States? There could be fucking 140 fucking thousand. There's 320 million people in this country. So trying to go through all the Michaels is going to be a bitch and a half. Two, there are cases where, and this has actually happened to a friend of mine, where he was arrested on a murder charge, but the charge wasn't for him. The person who actually committed the murder was from Nebraska, had his exact same name, same age, same birthday, but not the same birth year. But they just skipped that little mistake, and he was booked and thrown in jail and trialed, until they realized, hey, we made this mistake. And there's no, for somebody like my buddy who, I'm not a rich person. He's not a rich person. Most of us aren't rich people. Even the top 10% that they try to tell you about in the media are not really rich people. Uh, for someone like that to, let's say, after they go through this thing where they get a mistaken identity and have to deal with all this legal shit, spend a lot of money to defend themselves, only to be found not guilty or mistaken identity, and then go back out there to try to fix their lives. Most of these people don't have the money to try to pursue the people who ruined their lives. We're not famous people. We're not real famous people. You can't chase everybody out for a defamation of character lawsuit. It would be a fucking bitch and a half to do so. But that's pretty much what I want to leave at that regarding the situation. We don't know exactly what's going on. In the next few days, everything's going to roll out. Let's say fuck off to the trolls. Or ignore the trolls. Just don't deal or engage with the fucking trolls. Obviously these are people who are just being malicious and terrible fucking people. And a lot of these guys are really just half-ass trolls. And Allie will tell you, uh, I'm not saying a troll knows a troll, but I have one guilty pleasure, and that's actually trolling the trolls. And you guys can check You guys can check Tommy's comments. You can check some of the Goonies comments. When Dog Lips or anybody opens their fucking dick trap, I am happy to just go off and respond back. I mean, just earlier I had it with Big Nick, Big Nick Digger, and calling me out with bullshit. Come out, come out to Palm Springs Jiu Jitsu. It's like, are you stupid, motherfucker? You telling me to go out to look for you so that you can set up the situation under your terms? It's fucking stupid. Tr- um, it's some really dumbass half-ass trolls, and I have to admit the only reason I can deal with these people as good as I can is this Twitter. Twitter taught me to do so. Twitter is the home of fucking trolls. Twitter is you know, uh, the troll battleground. Hey, Rick. Now you better behave or I will give you that boot. I'm not Tommy, dude. Well, I might talk some shit to you first, then I'll give you the boot. Because I'm just like that. No, you don't, Allie. Don't lie. You don't love it. You don't love them all. Yeah, I'm talking to you guys. I'm trying to get this shit finished. Oh yeah, you know what? I don't fuck with Reddit. I don't deal with Reddit. I've never dealt with Reddit, ever. Uh, People have told me, yeah, just go check out, look up information on Reddit. I'm like, no, no. I didn't even know what Reddit was for a little while. I just thought it was another Tumblr, which it kind of is. It's just words. It's word Tumblr. What are you doing? Uh, Where's my lazies? Let me show you guys something. Mocha, can you see yourself? That's the lazy puppy. Well, right now she's being lazy. I actually like when she's being lazy. That is my new dog, Mocha. 7 months old. Should have named her Blondie. She is the dumbest dog I've ever had. Dumbest. Absolutely fucking dumbest. Buttercup isn't really a troll though, and I mean, if Buttercup's a troll, she's a poor troll. But Allie, look up Shepherd's Treehouse and Camp Goonies, Off-Grid Living, and sub to those and look at the trolls that have been on there, and you'll laugh. This is just some really fucking funny amateur trollish shit. It's people who would really be eaten alive on Twitter, you know. Again, sorry guys if I'm ignoring you a little bit. I'm supposed to be doing work, and I've just been talking to you guys, so I look a little bit like a dipshit right now. Fortunately, my work is only consisting of copy pasting right now, so. Link you. Link you. I'm doing something I'm getting paid for, and you want me to go out of my way and link you. I'll do it later. What, Rick? Yeah, yeah, but Buttercup can't deal with herself when she's being called out, and I don't know why some people can't do it. You can't just say, hey, like, I was just fucking around with you, or something. Uh, but Is she even still around? I thought Buttercup was done. I could have sworn Buttercup was done way before even I got kicked out of Twitter. I thought Buttercup was done when she. I thought the guys on the cunt stream called her out. I thought she came into the cunt stream. And by the way, guys, hey Vanilla Bear, for those of you guys who are my new subs who came from from Camp Goonies and Shepherd's Treehouse, there's a lot of funny people that I follow. And you should really check some of that. Allie is another person you oughta check out. She's not so much as funny as she is a skunk and ruins my fishing trips, but she's there. She's there. But one channel you definitely got to check out from time to time is called the Cunt Stream. You literally CUNT stream, Cunt Stream. Pretty funny. How have you been, Vanilla? How's the husband? You're a skunk, Allie. It's a fishing term, Allie. I thought you lived in Florida, Allie. You should know that. Wait, what? Where are you doing this sex show? Please tell me you actually made a Pornhub channel. That'd be great. I would love to be like a guest speaker on a Pornhub channel. Well, eventually you have to hold up the fishing rod when the game warden comes around. You don't want to see him catch you drinking and running a boat, don't you? So that's still fishing. Fuck, this warehouse is hot. I have no AC in this fucking warehouse and it's already 90. Son of a bitch. Come back. There it is. Well, duh, Rick, I'm fat and I'm sweaty. You're not telling me anything new. Good to hear. So when are you guys coming to America, Vanilla? You guys need to get the fuck out of England. I'm not. I don't want to be offensive to you. That's not. But I don't want to be politically correct at the same time. But your country's a shithole. I'm sorry. You live in a shithole. All right. You are. Bad enough that Australia is the Florida of Europe. Do you guys really want to become the Guatemala of Europe? Get out of there before that happens. Well, yeah, Seeker. I'm at the office right now. I have some. I'm supposed to be typing up some shit or copy pasting some shit and making it look like I did it. Fucking Allie. Then it's not a sex show, is it, Allie? It's not a sex show without the rod, then. Unless it's a feminist show, and I'd be really surprised that you were doing something feminist online. Well, how long is that going to take, Vanilla? I need you to get your husband down to California. I had this dream. I'm gonna tell Vanilla. I had this dream, and now I have to do it if I ever meet Alex. By the way, guys, if you guys, most of you probably haven't heard know this guy, but there is a channel called Irate Bear and Irate Alex. Please go and subscribe to his channel. He comes up with pretty decent, pretty funny content sometimes. Does end up getting an emotional period every once in a while, but good guy, good guy. But anyways, back to the dream. So I had this dream one day that for some reason, I was working as an Uber driver, and I went to the LAX airport, and guess who I picked up? I picked up Alex. I work Irate Bear, and apparently Bear was here to come find a job before he moved Vanilla and the kids out. And so my thing was, I'm glad that you're here, but before you do that, I got to get you high. And in the dream, he was very reluctant at first to get high, but I can't remember exactly how I convinced him to. But I got him to smoke weed with me. And the whole time he was high in my dream, he had the Lord Bear accent. He was just talking about the Lord Bear. He was just talking in Lord Bear about everything, finding everything giggly and funny, and that just cracked me the fuck up. And I've thought to myself, you know what? If there's one thing I do got to see in my life, if I ever meet Alex, I need to see him stoned off his ass, doing doing the Lord Bear accent to practically everything he fucking sees walking around LA or Hollywood Boulevard. It would just be some fucking hilarious shit. But yeah, you need to go and hurry up and get your passport so that I can maybe try and make that dream come true. Yeah. Let me skip some. Seeker, was that a question for me? Are you going to out for a visit or for a season or longer? You mean how long I'm going to stay at the slabs? I'm just staying a few days, dude. Like, like 4 days. Um, I was gonna stay 5 days, but when Tommy did his stream in San Diego and they showed the pier on Ocean Beach, I kind of got tempted to go out there because I've never actually fished San Diego before, and I am hearing good things. The fish report's pretty good right now in San Diego. So if I do decide to go, I am taking my rods with me because I'm still gonna fish the Highline Canal. Um, you know, I will probably just stay 4 days, end up going out and fishing a day in San Diego till I have to get back because my son does get back on the 5th, and that's when I have to be back here in LA. But yeah, it's just going to be for a few days. I'm going to try to check out as much as I can. Um, I'm kind of fucked how, going out with the situation being what it is. Um, but I'm not going to deter my plans, and I just hope that, I hope everything works out for the best. And if there's anything I can do to help out while I'm there, and I won't be reluctant. You know, I won't be reluctant not to do so. I'll definitely try to help as best as I can while I'm out there. But yes, I'm definitely fishing that canal. A few weeks ago, I went to some of the local tackle shops here in the San Fernando Valley, which is where I stay at. And I got to talk to some really old fishermen, and I started hearing some interesting stories about that Highland Canal. I know from what I've been told, it's being fed by the Colorado River, which, if you guys know anything about the fishing in the Colorado River, that means for sure that there's catfish in that water. Um, Now, the health and condition of those catfish is going to vary, but I would still like to catch a catfish because that is one of the fish on my list to catch for freshwater that I have still yet to actually catch. And I hear that it's a pretty interesting fight with the catfish. I have seen some videos by 760 Bass Fishing on here, and his videos are actually not that old. They're within the last few months, and he's catching some pretty big smallmouth bass. And I think he caught a catch in a few of his videos. Uh, so I have caught smallmouth bass before, but he caught some real pretty looking bass there. And I'm assuming that it's not a very popularly fished area, because it's such a canal. Many people will probably think that there's not a lot of fish in there. I do have one concern, though, that one of the fishermen did remind me about, and it would make sense if it happened. They did tell me that around this time, or that I go, there is a chance that there could be a big fish die off in the canal. And that's because, well, there's only so much water in that canal, and during the summer, that water is being evaporated away, and the it's an irrigation canal, so the water is being used by the farm. So as that water level drops, the oxygen levels are going to drop, and unfortunately, that can mean a lot of fish will die. You don't want to be around an area where there's a big, massive fish die off because it's going to, one, smell fucking horrible. Marina Del Rey, which is a marina that I like to go to now. Before I used to go to it back, I think in 2015 and 2013, had a major fish die off where millions of anchovies and little bait fish just died, and they flooded the whole marina with this disgusting smell. And while unfortunately they didn't really decide to do much of the cleanup themselves, they rather let nature take its course, which surprisingly nature kind of did take its course. And all the seagulls and shit were having a field day, but eventually they had to clean it up, and it did. And but yeah, the smell is fucking horrific. It's not something you want to be next to. Second, horse flies are apparently a really huge problem out there. Uh, that'll attract a shit ton of them more, a shit ton of them more. So yeah, 20 pounders. Well, actually, I've heard heavier. I've heard back in the 80s and 90s, supposedly anywhere from 50 plus. I've heard people snap. I've heard one story where a guy just a little higher from where Mike is at um, snapped an 100-pound line on something. Um, Now, I don't think he got maybe snagged on something because even yes, you can snap your line if you snag on something hard enough, but a hundred pound line is no joke. Even with even that mono, and it's we're talking freshwater here. Yeah, if we were saying salt water, I could just write it off to being okay. It's could have been a barracuda, could have been something with really sharp teeth. That's why for saltwater, for certain fishing, people use steel leaders or steel leader line. Sorry. Quick spell check here. Um, Now, I gotta admit though, as far as the fishing goes, one of the ones that I really want to catch right now, halibut. Halibut. I want to catch halibut. Everybody's catching halibut except fucking me, dude. I am not catching fucking halibut, and that is frustrating as fuck. I don't have the most expensive gear in the world, but I have the gear to do so, but I've not caught a fucking halibut. And one place that I like to go to called Bologna Lagoon, which is near Marina Del Rey by the mouth. They have in there a very big halibut. I want to say at least a 24 or 25-inch fucking halibut, about yay big, who I have thrown everything on. Top water baits, grubs, live worms, fucking everything. And that son of a bitch just likes to tease me. And as soon as the fucking bait hits the water, it doesn't even just swim really fast away. Fast away. It just like a little flutter. Ali, I have good bug spray. I have plenty of bug spray. I'm also going to test out this cool little zapper light that I got for a night, so I could zap those bastards in my sleep. Jake. Where Skittles? Are you talking about if I go to San Diego? Or are you talking about here, where I pretty much fish at? Because we do have some nice piers here in the Los Angeles area. Malibu Pier is nice. Redondo Beach Pier is really nice. Oh, okay, yeah, I could do that. There is a small little pier on that lagoon that I like to fish, Bologna Lagoon. Unfortunately, that pier's gone to shit. It's made out of wood, and some of the wood is already starting to rot out. You technically not allowed to fish there anymore, but it's not like they're really sealing up the place. It's just a piece of yellow tape. So pretty much anybody that goes to fish just fuck your couch and we go fish. So, um, but there's also some pretty awful piers. I went to fly fishing is pretty cool. Skittles. I will admit though, fly fishing is its own beast. It's not like regular fishing at all. But it does get results. I've seen saltwater fly fishing that tripped me out. I didn't know you could actually do that. But I've seen people with saltwater reels catch big fish. But one thing that has kind of lured me away from fly fishing is how expensive it is. Because fly fishing is way more expensive than fishing with a standard rod and reels, spinning reel, and even more expensive than a rod and using a conventional style reel. I don't know, Ali, because the spray that I have has DEET in it, and some of them have up to like 40% DEET. So maybe it's just not a 100% DEET ordeal, but some of the sprays do have DEET. But Skittles, yeah, that's not a bad idea. I could definitely do some, fishing on a pier videos. I actually don't do too much fishing in the piers these days, though. Now that I have my cheap boats, I don't really have a need to. It is great because in California, here's a good thing for you guys to know. If you guys ever come to California and you want to do some fishing, do it off a pier. It's not going to cost you anything. Aside from maybe the fishing gear if you don't have it already. In California, you don't need a permit to fish off of a pier or any man-made structure that extends out towards the ocean. So even like a rock jetty, if that rock jetty was not there naturally, meaning that those rocks were there before people showed up, that's still considered man-made. So you can fish on that without a license. Um, Now, fishing off the beach, fishing off a boat, you do need a fishing license. However, for non-residents, there is a temporary fishing license you can buy. It's like 15 bucks for 1 day, 25 for 2 days, or for 40 bucks you can get it 10 days. So, all depends on what you need. And that applies for fresh and salt water. If you live in California, your annual license you have to pay I think 68 bucks, and it's about 30 something dollars for fresh water, 30 something dollars for salt water. Uh, 25 bucks for the whole year, Skittles. All right. All right. And like I said, I didn't really have much to do here in the office. I'm pretty much done. All right, guys. Hold on. I saw something. Might as well 210 just because you never know. You need to finish. Okay. That's true. Hey, Tommy, how's it going? A gallon of milk here is about $3. Now, Skittles, though, on your licenses for fishing in New York, because see, we have a problem here in California, and a lot of us fishermen are trying to fight it. Here in California, when you get a fishing license, uh, it's only till the end of the year. So let's say if you got it in the middle of the year, it ends in December 31st regardless. So it's not the whole year, but you still pay the same price regardless. And that is something we've been fighting for here for 2 years, and unfortunately we're losing because we have a bunch of dipshits for politicians here in California. But I mean, is it the same there? Is it $25 for the whole year? That's great. Uh, that's great. If it lasts a whole year, that's for 25 bucks. That's great. And then it's for both fresh and salt. Wonderful. And see that's where we're in California, dude. We're fucked here in California for anything sports related. Any fun you want to have in California, you're gonna have to pay for it. That's why California has one of the some of the fucking worst quality of life. Whether yes, we're the fifth largest economy or sixth largest economy in the world. Yes, we have some of the richest people in the world that live here, and yes, people make more money here than they do in a state. But the cost of living is much higher. The cost of rent is significantly higher, and when you deduct the cost of living and all the stresses that the average Californian faces over all the supposed benefits that the Californians get, you still end up with the worst quality of life in California than you do anywhere else in the country. It's fucking sad, isn't it? But all right, guys, I'm done with what I have to do here, and I'm realizing I'm gonna start running short on time if I just spent, if I just spend all my time streaming, and it's not that I don't like it. I'm actually having a lot of fun doing this. I'll pick this up again later on, before I head out, again, and probably while I'm driving, I'll be doing some streaming as well. So, guys, thanks for watching. If you like the stream, hit the like button, subscribe, all that good stuff. I'll see you guys soon. Bye.